So, today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, especially for anyone who has ever had that perfect plan just completely fall apart. And I call it the space before strategy, or the space before the results can show up. And honestly, I believe that this might just change the way you look at every single goal from here on out. So, you know the feeling, right? You've got that perfect plan or that new workout, or you have the perfect strategy planned out for your business. And then a few weeks or maybe even days in, it just all fizzles. Well, that's such a common frustration. So, let me tell you what is really going on here. The first thing we always want to blame is the plan, right? We think something like, okay, I just needed a better system, or the strategy must have been flawed. But what if I tell you that that's not the actual problem? Okay, so if it's not the problem, if it's not the plan, then the next thing that we blame, well, it has to be my motivation, right? And then we start beating ourselves up and we tell things like, I guess I just didn't want it badly enough. Or this is too hard, it's too difficult, I can't do this. But as we are about to see, that's not the real root cause either. So if it's not the plan and it's not our motivation, what is it? Well, the real work, the thing that actually decides whether that we succeed or fail, happens in a place that we almost ignore. And that's the space before we even take that first step. And this quote is so powerful because it totally reframes your entire or the entire problem. It's telling us that the failure doesn't happen halfway through. It happens right at the starting line before the race has even begun. And listen, your automatic pilot, your default setting is to focus on the external stuff, the how. So, what do? We buy the books, we do the courses, we download all the apps, we make these incredible detailed spreadsheets, and we get completely fixated on having the perfect blueprint, right? And don't get me wrong, systems, action, and strategies, they absolutely work. Better said, we need them. But there's something else going on before that. And while we're obsessing over the how, we completely miss the single most important variable in the entire equation. And that's the person who actually has to execute the plan. And that's you. So I gave it a name. It's the space before strategy. It's that space before the results can show up. And you can also think it as your inner world. It's the whole mental and emotional landscape inside you that's really the thing deciding if your brilliant plan, your dream takes off or just quietly collapses. And this inner world really boils down to two main things. First, you've got your state, which is all about the energy you are operating from, the way that you feel, which then creates your attitude and the way that you take action, right? So, are you acting from stress? Or even though there is some overwhelming and frustration going on, do you act from a place of calm? And on the other side, you've got your story. And these are the deep down beliefs and the identity that you are living in. Most of the time, you're not even realizing it. And most people don't even realize how deep that this work really goes. It is that voice in your head that is saying, I cannot do this, or it's saying, I'm just going to fail again, or probably this will not work. I don't know what to do. I'm not getting it done. So you're focused on your circumstances, right? You can have the best strategy in the world. And that's the right thing, like I just said before. But if your internal state isn't ready for it, if it cannot stay long enough in that space before the results show up, if you collapse when things get challenging before you achieve the results, then the timing is wrong. And all you're going to get is frustration and pain. Which leads us to the most obvious question, doesn't it? If timing is that critical, what actually makes a timing right? How are we supposed to know when we're ready? Well, here is a secret. The right time has nothing to do with starting on a Monday or on a New Year's Day. It's not about the calendar at all. It all comes back to your internal capacity. It's about the emotional and mental bandwidth that you have to handle the challenges that always pop up when you're trying to change. When you build a business or whatever dream that you would like to achieve, part of that journey are challenges. And this whole idea of capacity also explains a phenomenon that we have all seen. It's the reason why two people can start the exact same, well, let's say a diet, or the same business plan, or the same creative project, and they get wildly different results. So let's look at this side by side. So you have person A who has a low capacity. They're acting from a place of stress, and their inner story is I'm not enough. I can't do this. I don't know. Life sucks. Life is happening against me. This will never work. Right? And the plan just feels overwhelming, and then they collapse. They don't have the capacity because their old identity is still telling them what they are not capable of. So instead of standing firm, right, and staying long enough in the space before the results can show up, they collapse. But then we have person B. And person B has a high capacity. So they're grounded, they're present, and their story is I'm capable. So what happens? They navigate the setbacks in a totally different way. And ultimately, because of that new identity and that strong capacity, they thrive. So it's the same strategy, but they are living in two completely different inner worlds, right? And we have to be really, really clear about what this is not about. So person B doesn't succeed because they are smarter or more talented. And it's definitely not because they have more willpower or because they just want it more. No, person A wants it as badly as person B. These are just myths and they keep you stuck. So the real difference maker is that the person with a high capacity can stay regulated. They can stay present and grounded through the messy, uncomfortable middle part of any change. You know, that gap between starting something and actually seeing results. And you have the inner stability to just wait for the results to catch up to all their effort. This right here is the ultimate takeaway. If you're looking for a breakthrough, you have to stop searching for a better strategy. The source of that breakthrough isn't external, it all starts internal. It comes from cultivating a steadier, more grounded version of yourself first before you start to work on the strategy, before strategy can truly get its results. So let's bring this all home. The real work of making a change has very little to do with finding another plan or another system or another productivity hack, especially when you have been trying so many times already to achieve what you want. It's kind of just rearranging the deck chairs, right? The real work is about identity. It's about building the internal capacity to actually hold the vision for your life. And that's why Two people working with the same strategy and the same business coach, one thrives and the other one collapses. It's not about the strategy. It's not about the business coach. It's about the space before the results can show up. So the final question isn't what I should do. The question is, who do I need to be for my plans to finally become inevitable?